सुयश है ना? आइए सुयश, प्लीज कम. Afternoon. Yeah. Take a seat, please. You are an original resident of Kanpur.
Yes, sir.
You must have been schooled in Kanpur only, right?
Yes, sir.
Mercy Memorial. Why Mercy Memorial? Is it a Christian school or what?
Yes, sir.
Is it a Christian school?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, during your school time, did you have to go through any of the teachings of Christianity or Bible or this? Do they do this?
So in the morning assembly, certain readings every day, 1 or 2 verses of Bible were read in the morning assembly.
Okay. Morning assembly.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, did you do it carefully or you have imbibed certain values from that? What is the purpose of such imparting such kind of teaching? There must be some values.
So they are mainly moral and moral teachings basically from the Bible, which used to be read. They are envying it.
So, what do you remember any of the moral teaching that they were trying to imbibe in you?
So they are mainly about living in harmony and having a moral outlook towards life, towards our fellow human beings. That is the overall. All the readings of main core is this only.
And what is the best laboratory for moral learning? Is it the school or the family or society?
So all of them are important, but in my opinion, the most important is the family itself. Because in that we don't only learn from the explicit instructions, but also from our day-to-day observational learning. Right from the childhood, it has been found in the many scientific studies also, sir, that observational learning happens right from the childhood, even when a child is very young, and he observes his parents and what they say and so on, and it makes.
That's very right. But my question is that I agree with you that most important is family for moral learning.
Yes, sir.
In the modern context, is the family able to perform this job? Are they able to give the right kind of morals to the children? And if that is so, then why you find so much of deviant behavior among the children? They are becoming more lawless, restless, disrespectful, disconnected. Not all of them, but majority of them. So where does the family fail in this?
So there's a case that in India, under the effect of globalization, we see that the structure and the duties of the families are changing. For example, earlier a kid used to grow up in a joint household wherein there were many elders and other people in the family who used to impart, for example, religious teachings and so on. But currently, sir, especially in some families where both parents are maybe working, then in that case, sir, the child is sometimes overlooked or he does not receive day-to-day observation and day-to-day feedback. So that is one example, sir, wherein the child may lack in moral teachings.
You are already a grown-up man now, and you have lived in the family. What according to you should be the right kind of parenting? That has a lot to do with the growth of the child. What should be the main elements of parenting?
So parenting is about encouraging a child to discover himself or herself, as well as providing feedback on whatever a child does in day-to-day life, sir. For example, even as young children, as in the KG, for example, or very early schooling, sir, the parents have a huge role in encouraging sharing or tolerance among young children towards other children or other kinds of people who they meet in day-to-day life, sir.
But let me stop you here. Here the problem I find is that because of technological interventions in life, the family is also technologically connected rather than individually connected. You see in the family what happens.
Yes.
Everybody is in WhatsApp or laptop or emails or whatever they are doing.
Yes.
And then that human connection is missing in the family.
Yes.
What is the negative role of technology that is playing in just disrupting this human connection?
So that is true that, for example, young children are also getting more exposed to online materials or social media. And for example, even in my family, sir, my sister has two kids, and they go onto YouTube to listen to rhymes and other things also. So in that case, the parental supervision is very important to see that at any point of time, what a young children is seeing, or what he or she getting exposed to.
Okay, all right. What was your optional paper?
So it is political science and international relations.
International relations. All
Yes.
right, lovely. Can you name a few good books that you read in political theory?
So in political theory, I read the usual textbooks. For example, Political Theory by O.P. Gauba, I read. Then on Western Political Thought, a book by Mr. Nelson.
Mr.
Nelson, sir, is there. Then Political Ideologies by Andrew Haywood is there.
Andrew. Would you ever got a chance to read the CL paper or books by Sabine or books by Ebenstein on Western political thought?
So I haven't got into individual titles.
You have not been in. That's okay. All right, fine. What is the contribution of Greek political thought to the development of political science?
So the Greek school is mainly represented by Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and they have a huge influence on the Western political tradition. For example, sir, it is said that all of political theory is footnotes to Plato and Aristotle. So, sir, we find that there are many ideas which flow from the works of Plato and Aristotle. For example, sir, one is that the role of ethics in politics. So the Greek school, it did not differentiate between ethics.
Who wrote this book on ethics, Nicomachean Ethics? Who is the author of this? Have you heard about this Nicomachean Ethics?
Yes, sir. So I think it was by Aristotle.
You think or you're sure?
So I'm half sure.
Okay. Now tell me that the three views of a state. One is called the state is being taken as an organism.
Yes.
Second is the view that the state is being taken as a machine.
Yes.
And the third view that a state is being taken as a class.
Yes, sir.
You got my points?
Yes, sir.
Now, which phases reflect all these three views of a state?
So can you repeat the last part of the question?
First is a state as a living organism.
Yes, sir.
Which political thought belongs to that?
Yes, sir.
Second is that they take it as a state as a machine. And third is that a state is a class.
Yes, sir. So the organism view of state was given by the Greek thinkers. For example, Plato and Aristotle, who saw a state as a entity which is very important to people's lives, and it cannot be separated from day-to-day ethics.
Who said that the whole is greater than its parts?
So I'm not aware of the exact statement.
That's the Western political thought. This is very important statement. Anyway, I agree with you. Greek said that it's a living organism.
Yes.
Which people said that a state is a machine?
So the liberal scholars, for
Name
example, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes.
Very right. All this Hawke, Rousseau
Yes.
and all they said is a machine.
Yes.
And class?
So class view of state is given by the Marxist scholars.
Thank you. I've got it. Please.
Suyash, you are from Kanpur, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me how this name has been derived?
So it is said that it comes from Karnapur, that Kanpur was earlier a historical city with the name of Karnpur, and the current name Kanpur is a.
What was the name during British period?
So it used to be spelled as Kanpur, as C.
Spell it again. No.
So it was Cawnpore.
Okay.
Yes,
How do you pronounce it?
Kanpur.
Kanpur.
Yes.
Then it became Kanpur, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me one important monument of Kanpur, which is internationally famous, which is related to some event in 1857.
So Massacre Ghat is one monument which is famous from Kanpur, where it is said that during the 1857 revolt, many.
But what about the memorial well?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
So it is a well in which a lot of freedom fighters were killed and dumped.
Freedom fighters.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now tell me one thing. Now, if you get into the service and you are posted as the head of the district,
Yes, sir.
what would you be called? Collector or deputy commissioner?
Sir, in UP,
Yes.
sir, in Kanpur, DM is the main
See,
district
DM is district magistrate. I use the terminologies collector and deputy commissioner. You know, in certain districts they are called deputy commissioner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, it is deputy collector in Kanpur.
Deputy collector? No,
Yes.
deputy collector is a lower level. See, for what we call DM, now DM is district magistrate.
Yes, sir.
It is magistracy. Now, but the other side is collector or deputy commissioner. Both the designations
So
are
we
used.
have collector in Kanpur
So, do you know the difference? What is the difference?
between the collector and the.
And the deputy commissioner.
So I think in different states we have a different naming. Otherwise, overall the functions are very similar.
Do you think the collectors still have a lot of important role in maintaining law and order?
So they certainly have a role, but in Kanpur, for example, sir, in 2 years ago, the commissionerate system was introduced, under which the magisterial powers have been transferred to the SP or the police organization itself.
Fine, it's good that you brought it to this. Now tell me, can you compare the two systems? The system of the commissionerate and the system of the district magistrate.
Yes. So earlier the district magistrate used to have the magisterial powers and he had the overall accountability for the law and order situation. And the SP and the DM used to work in conjunction.
No, you are giving the history, but what is the difference? Compare the merits and demerits or the characteristics.
So I believe that the commissionerate system is more streamlined and overall the law and order situation for it, the SP is directly responsible. So in that case, sir, it leads to a very clear demarcation of responsibilities and accountability. So that is.
You must have heard what has happened in Patiala.
Yes, sir.
I think yesterday or before. No, what happened? Can you describe it in 2-3 sentences?
So one group aimed to bring out a protest rally or a protest march, and in counter to that, another group of people, they also got out on the streets and clashes ensued between
The blame
them.
is that the criticism that they did not act sufficiently to prevent this.
Yes, sir.
Within the knowledge available publicly, do you agree with this?
So it can be said so, because police has a part to play in giving permissions and monitoring the situation in such cases, so that it does not escalate to a situation where violence can happen. So in that case, we can say that police should have acted more promptly and more urgently in this case.
Now tell me, you are familiar with Twitter, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
A big event has taken place a few days ago in relation to Twitter. What is that?
So Twitter has been overtaken, or we can say that it has been bought by Mr. Elon Musk, and now he will.
How much is the amount? Do you know that?
So it was $54 per share. It was, and overall the deal was also around, I think, between 50 to 55 billion dollars.
No, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's slightly less. But now tell me the implications of this. It has now become a private company.
Yes, sir.
So what are the implications?
So the controversy around Twitter was the rules of moderation and visibility, and what was the algorithm used in determining that what people see on their Twitter walls or Twitter feed. So when it becomes a private company, then maybe the public oversight over it or the governmental regulation of it may suffer. There is a perception.
But why are the employees up in arms against this?
Sir, I'm not aware of.
But you are aware that many of them are opposing it.
Yes, sir. So because this issue has become politicized in the United States, because Elon Musk has said that he's a free speech absolutist, and some sections of people believe that such social media companies, large companies, should have a certain moderating element and supervisory
In
element.
India, what is the likely effect? Are they changing the administration in India, the structure or the head of the India Twitter? Who is the head of the Twitter India?
So I'm not aware of it.
Mm.
So,
Is he being changed? Any idea?
so I'm not aware of currently.
Okay. One last question on your hobby. See, you have cooking as your hobby, isn't it?
Yes.
So tell us, what do you cook? Not stories, I believe. Eh?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Sir, I cook everyday food also at home.
Mhm.
Then sometimes I try to cook new dishes which are popular. For example,
How do you
even-
make new dishes? Only
Some-
little alterations or something more?
Sir, the popular dishes only. For example, last week I tried to make pizza at home. Otherwise, also serve.
What is fusion cooking?
So fusion cooking is basically earlier, sir, cooking was divided into different areas. For example, there was French cooking or there was Indian cooking and so on. So fusion cooking is taking two schools of cooking and bringing a new take to dishes in that. For example, we have an Indo-European maybe cuisine and so on. So this is fusion cooking.
Do you think a good, what is the difference between a cook and a chef?
So
Or is
chefs.
it only a commercial name? What do you
Yes,
say?
sir. Yes, sir. Chefs are basically commercial cooks or professional cooks, we can say, who work in hotels and restaurants.
Say from a person who cooks for, of course, all ladies cook at home, but somebody like you who has a hobby of cooking,
Yes, sir.
you and a professional chef,
Yes, sir.
what will be the difference in the knowledge base? Apart from the actual details of ingredients and all that, there is one factor which is required to be a professional chef, which may not be there for a hobbyist like you.
So professional chefs are aware of the basic chemistry which goes behind different very simple cooking techniques. Even, for example, at what exact temperature something should be cooked, or what different global ingredients should be used in various dishes. Whereas household cooks like me, sir,
Yeah, and what about nutrition? Nutrition is a very important thing,
Yes.
which a professional chef should know.
yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay, Suyash,
Yes, sir.
I will ask something about your name. What is Suyash means? Suyash.
So Suyash means good fame, or somebody who is known for good things.
And what is opposite to antonym of Suyash?
So it could be Apyash.
Apyash.
Yes, sir.
So I hope and pray, can I hope that when you become an administrator, you will do things justifying your names.
Yes, sir.
Suyash Kumar Singh,
Yes, sir.
good administrator.
Yes, sir.
Good. Your father has been in teaching,
Yes, sir.
in college, school.
So he's in a primary or secondary school.
Oh, very good, very good. That is a basic thing. In Unnao, you come from Unnao, no? Your father was in Unnao.
Yes, sir. My father.
Unnao was associated very infamously with some incident. What was it?
So last year,
Yeah, last
so
in recent past.
so there was the case of rape and of a girl where the sitting MLA was implicated in that, and they tried to. A controversy was created on that because the case was, politically charged, and even the witnesses in the case were killed and so on. So it became a big issue. But currently the MLA is behind bars, sir, and the legal
This-
process.
Atrocities against women
Yes, sir.
has increased in recent past. What could be the reasons for this increase? Is there any economic aspect?
So unemployment could be one aspect, that as more and more young people or so on are unemployed, then a greater time is left for antisocial aspects, for example, eve teasing and so on. So that could be one aspect.
No, but what about it can be the girl unemployment also?
So that could also be there, because we see that the female labor participation rate is falling. So it shows, sir, that women are.
Have you heard about Maitri Karar?
Sorry, sir.
Maitri Karar.
So I'm not
Not
aware.
what about it. कोई बात नहीं. You passed in 2015.
Yes, sir.
So what have you been doing?
So I worked in an organization for 2 years till
Mhm.
2017. And
Which
then
was that?
Some Barclays Shared Services.
Barclays.
Yes, sir.
Very good job. How do you believe it? Very good job.
So I wanted to prepare for.
You must be getting a fat salary.
So it was good.
Good
according
morning.
to Indian standards. Yes, sir.
Okay. You mentioned about Bible,
Yes, sir.
that you come from the Christian school and they could teach Bible and all. How many books are in the Bible?
So there are mainly, I believe there are 4 books. For example, a book of Luke and so on.
No, there are 66 or 66 plus books. Some say 66, some say 73. I'll give 3 statements. My Father in heaven, all from Bible. My Father in heaven, begotten Son and the Father. That's number 2. A third statement is, I and my Father are one. Can you explain it? I'll give you the clue. In Hinduism, the corresponding thing is dualism, qualified monism, and non-dualism.
Yes, sir. So, for example, sir, complete monism is what we know as.
No, what 3 statements?
Okay, sir. So one was, so the last one which you said, it is about what in Hindu tradition which we know as the Nirakar Brahm, that everything
If
is.
you don't know, there is no problem. But if you can explain it.
So basically, the whole thing is about the relation between God and people. So Brahm and Atma, or individual, and what is the characteristic of the God. So, for example, sir, one view says that God is all encompassing, and we all are.
Chalo, we'll just leave it this.
Leave it here. This is not a question.
I will ask you one very typical. What is chemical about chemical engineering? Why it should be called chemical engineering?
So, chemical engineering does not have chemistry in it. It is mainly oriented towards physical processes. For example, transport phenomena or mass transport, heat transport, chemical reaction engineering is a big part of chemical engineering. So these aspects help in the operation of chemical plants. For example, the
What is chemical?
So
Why it is called chemical? Why not physical?
So because of chemical reactions, so it is physical. Everything physical.
Why? How do you distinguish a chemical reaction from a other type of reactions?
So a chemical can combine with other chemicals to form a completely new kind of chemical.
I will ask you something on electoral reforms.
Yes.
You know, these days you see that money, muscle play a huge role, and people who should not come to politics, they come to politics uneducated. The unsocial, anti-social elements are coming here. And we have done a lot of reforms already.
Yes.
Electoral bonds and all that. The Anti-Defection Act is there. What more can be brought into practice to reduce the coming of these people?
So there are two aspects to it. So sir, one is the side of the voters themselves. For example, the Election Commission has taken many steps to impart more awareness among the voters and to give them more information about the prospective legislators. For example, sir, the information about the criminal cases or the financial assets of the candidates, the election commission.
What changes can be made in the Anti-Defection Act now?
So the Anti-Defection Act, one or two issues are there in the Anti-Defection law. For example, sir, one is that it prevents the legislators from voting their conscience, for example, sir, and it leaves them at the mercy of the whips of the parties. So actually, sir, it has resulted into the dominance of the party high leadership or high command culture, what we call. Secondly, sir, we say that the anti-defection law, it prohibits defection in small parts, but it legalizes wholesale defection because of the.
So what as a ruler, what would you like to propose?
Sir, in my opinion, sir, we should remove the anti-defection law to provide more freedom to the legislators to have a proactive role in the house, and this will have, sir, downstream effects or upstream effects.
So you don't need any Anti-Defection Act to be free.
Sir, in the short term, it will lead to more confusion, sir, but in the long term, it will lead to better intra-party democracy in the political parties.
More IAS will be there. What can be the role of election commission here? Because recently we see that lot of charges are being leveled against election commission. Though there are 3 members, earlier when Mr. Sassan was one man, it became all free, fair, and change was there. But now there are 3 members, and again the allegations are there.
Yes.
Right. Do you think election commission also needs some changes?
So we can say that in the operational parts of the election commission, they should operate by set rules and more clear guidelines according to which they should work. And so some aspects, for example, responding to the complaints under the model code of conduct. So it leads to sometimes the perception or the allegations of partisan behavior on the part of the election commission. So, sir, I think that it should be.
Have you heard about finance commission?
Give it over to him. His time is up now.
So,
Next question, Ravi.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Suyash,
Yes, sir.
what a wonderful journey you had from Kanpur to IIT Delhi. What a record, 90% plus, moving to IIT Delhi. How was your journey? When you reached IIT Delhi, how did you feel in a year's time or in 2 years' time you got enriched?
So, in the first year or so, it was a culture shock for me because I hadn't gone out of Kanpur a lot. So, sir, in that sense, it took a certain time to, excuse me, sir, to adjust to the new environment. But otherwise, sir, IIT Delhi is an institution which showed me the practice or the examples of excellence. For example, the professors there or the students there, they are doing very wonderful things. So, that showed me what excellence looks like and what should be the.
That was one aspect.
Yes, sir.
There were I will check up there were 2 things. Generally, from a college you may be topper, but when you go to Harvard, you came to IIT Delhi, which is no less. You see, there are many like you. That are toppers from different schools, from different states. How did you adjust that? And number 1. And number 2, how equating yourself, the gender equality aspect, how these 2 issues were there.
Yes, sir. So, sir, first of all, IIT Delhi is a national institution. So, a lot of people from different areas of the country come there. So, probably rich children from Delhi or even from the backward areas of Bihar or Jharkhand or from Tamil Nadu or Kerala. So, sir, we have an exposure.
Your own personal experience.
Yes, sir. So, sir, I had an interaction with different kinds of people belonging to India. So, I understood various how to live in harmony or how to learn from other people and how different kinds of Indians live. So, sir, that was one important lesson. And secondly,
Come up with the gender.
yes, sir. So, gender equality, yes, IT has a problem, IT system, that the gender ratio is very skewed, sir. So, it leaves a less representation of the female gender in the classrooms and everywhere. But, sir, in recent times, it has been changing, and even the administration has taken more steps to promote girl education at the.
Which was your hostel?
So, it was Vindhyachal Hostel.
What is the IIT Delhi's hostels are named on what? Rivers or what?
So, they are named on the mountain ranges.
Mountain ranges.
Yes, sir.
Now, come to the thing, I am giving you one example which is not a real example and basically police administration. It is a true example. There is a case in which a video circulated,
Yes.
one of the districts of UP, where it was seen in a college there was a national flag, and the video circulated was that a flag is being removed and is being by a predominant color of a party, and there was a lot of problem. In such a situation, and which was found to be a fake, and you are the SP of that city, and SP has been praised like anything. What will be, how would you tackle such a situation?
So, first of all, such an incident should not turn into a more.
How? Agree with that,
Yes, sir.
one by one, what
Yes.
you have in mind.
So, sir, first of all, the ground level situation in the university, that should be taken into account. A visit to the university or college, for example, should be taken and to collect the facts on the ground, what is happening there and what is the atmosphere like over there. So, sir, that is first. Secondly, sir, in such cases, a clear communication to the outside world is very important because it can lead to many escalatory situation of different outside or external actors as well. So,
Yeah.
sir, in that case, a proper
First is to authenticate the
Yes.
fact. Second is the thing, precautionary measures.
Yes, sir.
Next. What?
Sir.
Anything is not next. What?
Yes.
What do you?
So next, secondly was the communication part.
Yes.
Thirdly, sir, it will be to take any necessary action in this case to find out the facts. We have found out the facts, and if they point out that some wrong has been committed or an illegal action has taken place, so in that case, the police procedure will be followed. For example, the FIR or so on. Or sir, if only it was a magnifying or so it was not a very serious situation. In that case,
Suyash, problem comes here. The police admission many times reaches to the facts, and now in this case, they are the party workers of a ruling party, and you have to arrest them. How do you tackle this? There would be pressure. How do you tackle this situation?
so in this respect, I think the so collaboration or working together with the university officials is also very important. If the incident was not very serious or it was not very serious, then maybe it can be dealt with at the university level itself. So in that case, sir, we can leave the university officials firstly to take the necessary actions. Otherwise, it can lead to more tensions, sir.
But would public look towards some arrests? What happened? It was a viral video. It came out to be a fake video. What would be that? I mean, there will be more such incidents would come. Okay. Now, Kanpur has been the Manchester of. Now, slowly and slowly, the industries, large industries is nowhere. JK Synthetics is nowhere. What is the? How do you see? Downfall of industries, okay. Now, how would you cope up with it? Leading to unemployment, Kuda Kachara. I mean, this is one of the most dirty towns of UP. You are there in any position, and supposedly you're at a senior position. How would you take? One is the industrialization, whatever it you can do, and second is the swachhata. How would you take this?
So on the industries part, I think the state government itself has taken many steps, and the ground level officers need to execute them properly. For example, even around Kanpur, many new industrial areas are coming up, sir. So
Give me some examples. What has happened has led to the improvement in the industries.
So, for example, a new model of plug and play has been put into place. A new leather technology industrial area has been developed. So, in that case, sir, the required regulations and approvals and the process of giving land to industrialists,
Wonderful.
this can be.
Wonderful. Now come to the swachhata. How
Yes,
do
sir.
you take this?
Sir, on the Swachhata part, I believe that a lot has already been done, and currently in Kanpur, door-to-door collection of waste does take place on a large scale. So, the next steps on this ladder is to what happens with this waste. So, for example, when all this waste is accumulated at the landfill level, so what happens to the waste there? So, that needs to be taken into account, that it should be disposed of or recycled properly.
Perfectly. My simple thing wasn't it the public is more important, they collect. I mean, when you go to Kirwai Nagar, to Sarup Nagar, the heaps of Kuda is there. I mean, I was looking at something that, but wonderful. God bless.
Yes.
Yes, so just I find that you have a lot of interest in cuisine. You were a cuisine champion.
Yes, sir. During school time, I won the ASISC quiz at the state level, and I represented Uttar Pradesh at the national level.
So what induced you to take interest in cuisine?
So it was natural, I think, that right from the childhood I used to take interest in reading the newspapers every day at home, and any books that I could get my hands
So,
on, I
yeah.
used to
So
read.
this cuisine is mostly information based. So what is the like quality one imbibes by participating or by developing interest in cuisine? Why should one? If you collect so much information, how does it help?
So the modern quizzing at the university levels, for example, currently, so it is not only about memorization of facts, rather it is about also the horizontal application of what existing knowledge you have. So,
Can you give us one such example?
so the,
Can you frame one question like that?
currently I will not
Okay,
be
no
able
problem.
to, but
Yes. Okay. So, who is your favorite quiz master?
so Vikas Farooq was a good quiz master. He was in Bonvita quiz championship.
No, tell us someone whom general public also knows.
So, general public, I think Amitabh Bachchan is the most popular quiz master in India, and he has.
Is he a quiz master? No, he's a presenter. He's not a quiz master. Siddhartha Basu is a quiz master.
Basu,
Not-
have you anybody else in that genre, that kind of?
So, Siddhartha Basu and Vikas Farooq are the main ones who have taken the quizzing.
Anybody from
so-
Kolkata?
So, the O'Briens, for example, Derek O'Brien, he was very important, and his father Neil O'Brien was actually the main person who started the quizzing culture in India.
Yeah, that's interesting. That anyway, coming back to, I find that you take interest in behavioral economics also.
Yes, sir.
So, like again, how did you, being a chemical engineer, how did you get into behavioral economics?
So I like to read different kinds of books, and I read one or two books even during school time. So, for example, Freakonomics was one book which showed me how this field was very fascinating, sir. So then later I tried to find out more titles on that. For example, Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, and so on, sir. So these books are very fascinating because they show how we act under different situations, and they help us become more self-aware about our own mind. And
So, what does behavioral economics in very brief does, and how?
so behavioral economics is basically a field which lies at the intersection of economics and psychology.
Any example can you give us?
Yes, sir.
Behavioral economics, yes.
So, for example, Daniel Kahneman talks about the two systems inside a human person.
You only follow Daniel Kahneman or the other behavioral economists also? Can you name a couple of them?
Who got Nobel Prize in behavioral?
Sir, Richard Thaler recently got a Nobel Prize for his nudge theory. So
Yeah.
his book Nudge came out in 2008.
Right.
So,
So, are we using behavioral economics in our public policy?
yes, sir, we are. So, for example, one is that autofilling of forms, taxation forms, and so on, organ donation forms, sir. Because behavioral economics has found that normally people have a lot of inertia built into them. So, for example, when they are presented with forms, if the forms are opt out rather than opt in, then a lot of people will stick to the default option, sir. So we can use the default option in organ donation forms or taxation forms, or giving up the subsidy on LPG cylinders. So these are some examples where the insight from behavioral economics was used.
And there is a similar economics called positive economics or normative economics. Since you have read some of these, can you differentiate between positive economics and normative economics?
Sir, I'm not aware
Go
of
ahead.
normative economics.
Okay. Then let me ask you something about what area of Indian economy you follow or you find it interesting.
Sir, I follow usual newspapers and what is happening on the Indian economy. So,
So any particular field, service sector or manufacturing or agriculture?
so not any particular one in detail. So I have overall information whatever comes out in newspapers and so.
Can you tell how India GDP is structured broadly?
So broadly, India currently has the service sector, which is the most important. It contributes around 60% of the value. Then, sir, comes the industrial sector, which is around 18-19% or around 22%, including electricity. And then we have the agriculture and allied activities, which lie at the third point. But, sir, the main problem with the Indian economy is that the workforce employed in the agricultural sector is the largest. So that leads to low per capita income because productivity is less in agriculture. So this is the economic journey, sir, we are actually taking, wherein we want to transfer the people who are surplus in agriculture to industrial activities. So this is the main journey.
So in that there is a concept, since you have followed, do you understand what is disguised unemployment?
Yes, sir. So disguised unemployment is primarily seen in Indian agriculture, wherein, for example, family labor is employed in the family farms. So, sir, disguised employment, if we talk about it in technical terms, it is where the marginal utility of labor is close to zero. It means, sir, that the
Marginal
work
productivity, you can say.
Yes, sir, marginal productivity also we can say. So, sir, the work which can be done by excuse me, sir. By 1 or 2 persons. So, sir, that even in that work, 3 or 4 or 5 people are employed there. So, sir, the best case of this is Indian agriculture. So, the whole families are working in the family farm.
So now what is the size of India's GDP generally? You have some figure at your which is quoted very frequently. How big is our
So it is
economy?
between 3 to 4 trillion it is, and we are trying to become a $5 trillion economy.
Right. So this 5 trillion, but we are already more than 5 trillion in certain measurement.
Yes, sir.
Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
What
In
is that?
PPP terms, purchasing power parity.
Right. So how come we are so high in PPP?
So, because our currency is devalued against the main currency of the global system, which is dollars.
Right.
So, if we correct for that, the exchange rates,
Yes.
then the overall economic activity is much greater, sir.
The real economic activity is much greater, but it does not reflect
In dollar terms.
in dollar terms.
Yes.
So you think our currency is devalued or undervalued or overvalued? Do you get my question? What I am asking?
Yes, sir.
Whether rupee is undervalued or
So,
overvalued?
India has a floating system wherein we do not try to keep the exchange rate at some fixed levels. We only, the RBI only tries to prevent any very swift volatility in the exchange rates. Otherwise, our exchange rate floats according to the economic situations in the
That's
international
fine.
system.
No, I'm asking. So given our high ranking in terms of PPP, would you consider rupee to be undervalued or overvalued vis-a-vis dollar?
So, I would not able to comment.
I think it's over now.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go now. We'll call you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
They should improve in next moment. बेटा तुम कौन सा अटेम्प्ट है तुम्हारा ये?
सर 4th है.
एंड दो एमटेक करने के बाद सिर्फ यही कर रहे हो यूपीएससी?
सर 2 साल जॉब करी थी, उसके बाद क्विट करके करवा.
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक है. इंटरव्यू पहला है?
सर 2nd है, लास्ट ईयर दिया था.
क्या हुआ था लास्ट ईयर?
162 आया था सर.
ठीक है, that's above average. It's good before us. You look very good and all. I was very happy with my initial questions on political science. You answered very, very well. and that says a lot that you know about the basics of political science and IR also. Other places also, behavioral economics, you were good. Sorry, an expert, but I was watching.
But थोड़ा जानना चाहिए था कि suppose you know behavioral economics, तो positive economics and normative economics थोड़ा मोड़ा देख लो।
उसको सीधे नज इकोनॉमी पे ले आओ, और इंडिया में जो एप्लीकेशन हो रहा है नज इकोनॉमिक्स का, स्वच्छ भारत अभियान में बहुत सारे चीज उसमें सीधे हम आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग यू टू कम आउट विद दैट वी आर अप्लाइंग। ठीक है, हो जाएगा नो को, लेकिन आई हैव प्रॉब्लम विथ यू कि तुम जो बातें करते हो नेक इज अप एंड योर, लग रहा है तुम छत पे देख रहे हो हम लोग को देखने के अलावा। ये तुम्हारा नेचुरल है कि ये क्या है, ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये हाइट के चलते हो रहा है, व्हाई दिस इज हैपनिंग, कैन यू पुट योर नेक डाउन ऐसे, हाँ जैसे अभी तुम देख रहे हो ना, दिस इज बेटर, ऐसे नहीं रहता है तुम्हारा, ऐसे रहता है, तो कैसे इसको ठीक कर सकते हो? नेचुरली तुम रहते हो ऊँट की तरह कि ये तुम्हारा हो गया इंटरव्यू में, ये बताओ।
थोड़ा सा
नेचुरल है, नेचुरली तो मैं नहीं कहूँगा, लेकिन अगर उसको कभी कर सकते हो नीचे, दैट बिकम्स ऑब्वियस टू ऑल ऑफ अस। आई पॉइंटेड आउट एंड एवरीबॉडी एग्रीड।
ओके सर।
इंटरव्यू कब है?
सो 10th को।
टाइम है।
सुयश
और यस, और क्यूजिंग में वो जो सिद्धार्थ बसु है,
अरे कॉल करेंगे तुमको भी।
हेलो, दैट शुड आल्सो, ठीक है, बट your answer was okay that how accusing is becoming more you know, but उसका example भी आप क्या रखो?
Yes,
And it's not just trivia, you know, it is being more creative and उस तरह से justify।
कानपुर पे तो ये स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन अगर पूछेंगे तो 2-3 पूछेंगे, बहुत ही गार्बेज है, गंदगी है, लेदर इंडस्ट्री, टैनरी इंडस्ट्री मार खा रहा है, क्या करोगे? उसका 1-2 स्टैंडर्ड आंसर पढ़ लो, जो आता है उसको कर लो करके। और कानपुर के अलावा आईटी पे हम लोगों ने नहीं पूछा, लेकिन आपको समथिंग अबाउट आईटी, तो आईटी क्या है, क्या स्पेशलिटीज में, वो सब पूछ सकते हैं। हॉबीज पे पूछ ही लिया लोगों ने जो क्वेश्चन पूछना था आपको। पीएसआईआर पे तुम कर पाओगे अच्छे से।
One observation I have, see now we are giving the feedback, you are not actually
Yes.
forming to you. But you're a little bit of, at the back of your mind, it seems you are having some worry or something. You are not that relaxed. Why?
So
But
interview.
the-
should not be a pressure with a kind of boy. And Suyash, on my front, which was a purely situational, I would not say quizzing you can improve. There may be questions, and certainly there will be questions on the situation. You
Yes.
take it very well. I must say very well. And as a real incident of humming, okay, S. Lakshmi Prasad is an IPS, he is the SP from Karnataka, I know him personally. Only one thing, when you talk about Swachhata, try to bring in all such schemes, Beti Bachao Beti, public, private, public and the government. Whatever government may do, if the public doesn't believe in cleaning, otherwise there is something super, I will read you, super. One sentence. Next thing is the
बहुत बढ़िया,
Very
अच्छा से किया ये।
Very
वन थिंग नो, एंटी डिफेक्शन में यू जस्ट फॉल्टेड यू,
Yes, sir.
एंटी डिफेक्शन हटा देना चाहिए, वो दैट इज नॉट गुड। इन फैक्ट इट्स बी स्ट्रेंथन।
No,
It
it's
is
still
session
not
है।
like-
नहीं, दोनों आंसर ठीक है, इसका मैं बता दे रहा हूँ, लेट मी जस्ट आई हैव रेड अबाउट इट। सो दोनों आंसर दो कि इन द प्रेजेंट फॉर्म इट्स नॉट being effective, so either it should be strengthened further or it should be scrapped, because this is the view many people have said that it should be scrapped. He's not the one who is saying it. Many political scientists have said कि it's better कि ना रहे हो जो अभी जो काम नहीं कर रहा है। तो दोनों भी लो कि either we have to give a thorough relook at it to make it effective. In the present form it's not working to stop defections. That's a strong view, but you cannot defend कि anti-defection law is good and it's working. It's not working. जहाँ भी हो रहा है defection हो ही जा रहा है।
इम्प्रूवमेंट।
तो इसलिए हाँ, सीधे मत बोलो एक्सट्रीमली कि उसको स्क्रैप कर देना चाहिए, जैसे सर बता रहे हैं कि उसको फिर दोबारे इन द लाइट ऑफ द एक्सपीरियंसेस वी शुड ट्राई टू फिक्स द लूप होल्स, अदरवाइज इन द प्रेजेंट फॉर्म इट शुड बी स्क्रैप्ड। एंड एनीवन हु इज नॉलेजेबल इन द बोर्ड विल नो दैट इज द डोमिनेंट व्यू दैट इट शुड बी स्क्रैप्ड, इट्स नॉट देयर हेल्पफुल, सो दैट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम।
So going back to what Sinha sir said, he is the senior most member in this. This posture or something related. Why don't you smile? Be very serious.
You are not looking relaxed. That is what I
Exactly.
get.
This is what I'm saying.
Tension,
Why?
no.
Is the nature that you smile? Or
So sometimes
Why?
when I try to put keep a smile or something, sometimes it crosses the territory of inadvertently laughing. So
Maybe.
that
No, it's so good.
नहीं थोड़ा सा
relaxed. You see, there is a difference between smiling and relaxed.
Yes.
For example, now you should be relaxed. You see,
Exactly.
I can understand when it is.
पोस्चर भी तुम्हारा पोस्चर भी टाइट लगता है
हाँ,
थोड़ा,
tight लगता है।
नेक
यहाँ तो
नेक
हम
भी
discomfort
थोड़ा सा
नहीं है,
गर्म लग रहा
because
है और
we are
स्माइलिंग
collar
भी
and
नहीं है, तो
कॉलर से भी डिस्कम्फर्ट हो रहा है.
ये बड़ा चेंज नहीं है, इट्स वेरी स्मॉल चेंज, यू कैन
Very
वर्क
small.
आउट, इट्स very small
What
change.
was the board last time when you appeared?
RN Chaube sir.
Oh.
बढ़िया बोल रहे हैं.
चलो ठीक है, ओके,
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
ऑल द बेस्ट, ऑल द बेस्ट.
Thank you, sir.
हाँ, actually very conservative.
नहीं, उसको ये भी गले में भी ज़्यादा पहनता है जैसे
मैं गया था.
पोस्चर में गड़बड़ी है इसका.